We're going to transition to a new segment that we've got here. We're going to call it To Beef or Not to Beef.
That's the question.
So last week, you said something that caught my attention a little bit. You said Mike Evans was a top 5 to 10 receiver of all time. 5 is definitely not true. We'll look and see if we can get to 10. I've loaded some guys up here. So we'll start it off right here with Mike Evans or Jerry Rice.
Well, first, this isn't fair to anyone, right? Obviously, it's Jerry Rice, but let's not forget. I mean, obviously, Jerry Rice is number one anyway.
Right.
The numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm not a longevity number kind of guy, but it's more than that.
No, for
right?
sure.
Because he was one of the best yak receivers of all time.
Yeah, well.
And so it wasn't like he was getting deep ball all the time.
Well,
he was taking 3-yard slants to the house.
And if you look at his PFF page, right, like they always like put in bold any number that you like led the league in that year. It's like he's got more bold than unbold. Like he's stupid. Yeah. It's not just longevity. It's just that he was the best player at the time.
But it was also not like he was going deep and catching a deep ball and stepping into the end zone.
Right.
He was one of the original yak receivers.
Absolutely.
Right? Obviously in the West Coast offense, which is what it's intended to do, but he was an expert at it.
Sure.
And let's not forget, Mike almost got to his record because he did get to didn't he get to 10 consecutive?
It was 11 consecutive. Jerry's was 12.
Okay, yeah. So he got to the 11, which no one else has ever done.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so again, Jerry's going to beat everybody for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, if you're asking me, this is kind of talking top 10 receivers, but would I rather have Jerry than Randy? That's a different story.
Sure.
But obviously, you take Jerry over Mike because you take Jerry over everybody.
Right.
In the grand scheme.
Yeah. And I would also say just like context here, right? Like Mike Evans' career numbers, got 866 receptions, 13,000 yards, 108 touchdowns, 74.2 yards a game.
Yeah.
And like you said, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He did lead the league in touchdown once. So also not just like a longevity guy either.
No, he's an instant guy.
And he does obviously have a ring, so that adds value. There's a lot of guys near the top of the list that just don't have a ring, and that's not the end all be all, especially for the receiver position, but it doesn't hurt for sure.
Right.
So then we've got Mike Evans versus Randy Moss.
Well, I mean, again, this is a no-brainer.
Right.
When you look at the yards, the touchdowns, they're not even close.
Right.
He had more balls, and I would say one thing that Randy and Mike have in common is even though they did play with a couple of greats, and most of the biggest one being the same one.
Sure.
Right. And, Tom Brady for the season for Mike, and obviously for the season for Randy.
I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 for both of them, but yeah.
But either way, I mean, that's right. Tom was there the 1 year, but.
Now Randy's second year there was when Tom tore his ACL and was out the whole year.
Right. But I guess my point being, aside from him,
it's a lot of mid.
Right. And in some cases bad.
Sure.
But they still got it done.
Yeah.
And so obviously I'm taking Randy.
Yeah.
You can't, even if it was just the touchdowns.
I would say the biggest difference, right, like you said, other than we can also just talk pure talent. I mean, he's like, 6'5", like athletic freak, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Here's what Randy Moss is to the NFL and wide receiver core. He's the Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, that's
to that position.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was just so physically imposing. He was taller than everybody. He was faster than everybody.
Yeah.
And hands like no other. Like,
I would say,
you just got it near him, he was going to make the catch.
Yeah.
And so you didn't even have to be that talented of a deep ball thrower for him to get it. So
I would say, other than obviously just pure talent, the biggest differences would be that he was a 4-time All-Pro, and Mike Evans has never made an All-Pro team.
But Mike has always been underappreciated.
Sure. And then the biggest difference is that, like I said, Mike Evans did lead the league in touchdowns once. Randy Moss did it 5 times, including the single season NFL record.
Why, if you were a quarterback and you were on your side of the 50, and at least one of those plays was a bomb to Moss in the end zone, I'll never get it. Right. Would I have been shocked if somehow, Moss beat Rice for touchdowns? No.
Right.
Like, it's kind of crazy. And if you look at a touchdown per catch, Randy is probably ahead in that. I've not done the math.
It's relatively close, I would say.
But yeah, obviously I'm taking Randy.
Yeah. All right, next one. So I've got Mike Evans or Terrell Owens, who's got about 200 more catches, almost 3,000 more yards, 45 more touchdowns. He does average slightly fewer yards per game, but he has had the end of his career where Mike Evans hasn't. We'll see how long he continues to stretch. Also a 5-time All-Pro, 3-time touchdown leader.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, touchdowns and yards alone do this.
Yeah.
I'm taking Owens.
That's fair. All right, next one. I've also got Larry Fitz, kind of like the epitome of just the longevity GOAT, but how much he did also twice lead the league in touchdowns, twice lead the league in receptions. He's got 600 more receptions, 4,000 more yards, only 13 more touchdowns though, and did average a full 9 less yards per
here's what
game.
I'm gonna say, and this is gonna get me some heat.
Okay,
actually, if anybody sees this podcast,
fair enough.
But look, I love Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's an all-time great. He's also an all-time great person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, so that's the other accolade I didn't put on there. One-time Walter Payton Man of the Year winner.
Right.
So that's got to count for something.
He's legitimately just a good guy, good person, and he was a great player. I believe the stat is, doesn't he have
more tackles than drops? Yeah.
Like, talk about...
He went like 9 or 10 consecutive years without a single drop.
Right. What I will say that makes this, and again, played with a lot of questionable quarterbacking.
He also played with some really good quarterbacking, though. I mean, Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer, who, like, 2015 Carson Palmer, they got to the NFC title game, was really, really good. And Kyler late.
Early in his career,
right.
Late in his.
Right.
Look, here's the thing. This is a tough one. Because, yes, he had more yards. Yes, he has a few more touchdowns, but on a lot more catches.
A lot like
more games.
600 more catches.
A lot more games. The yards per catches were, because, look, he was not a deep threat.
No.
He was an end zone threat.
No.
When you got there, to a certain degree. And he was a possession type receiver.
Absolutely.
Right? One of the best ever to do it. And there's no taking that from him.
Yeah. I would say bare minimum, though, he just gave you a very, very substantial floor for 2 decades. You know, like your offense has a floor with him on the field.
Equate him to a player. It's Emmitt Smith. In the sense
that's fair.
In the sense that Emmitt Smith was a great running back. Most people probably don't even have him top 3 or 4, and he holds all of the records.
Absolutely.
Right? He's not what Jerry Rice was to receiving.
Right.
Emmitt Smith wasn't. And I kind of put Larry in that.
That's
Part
for
of
sure.
what he did was that he played for so long at a high level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was good at what he was good at.
Right.
And so this is tough.
And kind of to that point, like you said, Mike Evans was never in all
their prime. Who I would rather have, I would take Mike Evans.
I think that's a valid argument.
Now, because his career's over, do I expect Evans to get to 17,000 yards? No. Do I expect Evans to get to 121 touchdowns? We'll see how this year goes.
It's possible. It depends on how many more years he plays, or like he technically could do it this year. It's probably not likely, but
he's probably the best end zone threat that team's going to have. I mean, from a receiver perspective.
Okay, I was going to say George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey both exist.
From the receiver position.
But even then, using your receiver position as that, assuming everybody's healthy, that might be 4 or 5 touchdowns because Kittle's going to get 8 and
because of all of
McCaffrey's going to have 15.
I'm going to say Fitzgerald. However,
that's not what I was expecting you to say. That's fair.
I'm going to do
it. Okay.
However, do I think by the time Mike Evans' career is over, that would be my answer? I don't think so.
Okay. That's fair. All right.
But I'm trying to be fair.
You know what? And honestly, I don't even know if I agree with that take, so I would have been fine if you said Mike. Like, I don't know.
But
this is the only really old one I've got on here. Lance Allworth, because his numbers are stupid. He does have about 300 less receptions and 3,000 less yards, and I think 17 less touchdowns. But his yards per game is about 1.5 yards higher. He was a 6-time, so he just played less time. He was a 6-time All-Pro, a Super Bowl champ.
He was only part of one of those Super Bowls?
He was on the 72 Cowboys because he played most of his career with the Chargers.
Oh, that's right.
And a few years of it, not all of it, but a few years of it was before the Super Bowl era. But he led the league in yards 3 times, the league in receptions 3 times, the league in touchdowns 3 times, yards per game twice.
So he played with...
And yards per reception once.
Did he play with Dan Fouts?
I believe so. That might be slightly early for Fouts. No, he had to have played with Dan Fouts. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. This is I'm going to tag this to recency bias more than likely.
That's fair.
I'm taking Mike Evans,
and that's fair. I just put him on there because his numbers are stupid.
I mean, the yards per reception is dumb, right? Which you don't have on here, but if you do the math there,
right,
like that is a crazy yards per reception.
Yeah.
I'm taking him. I'm taking Mike Evans here. It was fair to probably put him on here.
Right.
And also keep
It's kind of like comparing
I don't know how many
Shaq
years
to like Bill Russell or something.
I
It's
don't
like, who do you really care about?
that he played with Fouts, but Fouts was a deep ball guy,
Right.
right?
Right.
He put up huge numbers. I'm going to take Evans. Whether that's fair to Allworth or not, I don't know.
Steve Largent, kind of like in between guy, like, like Jerry Rice time
I
period,
mean, look,
but
Steve Largent is still the best receiver in Seahawks history.
did lead the league in yards
Will he
twice.
be at the end of JSN's career? Probably not.
It depends on how long JSN plays there, but the ring helps JSN a lot, obviously.
It does.
And then just the overwhelming talent.
But Steve Largent was probably one of the toughest wide receivers to ever play.
Yeah.
He was undersized. I think he was 5'7", 5'8".
No.
He was a little dude.
Really? I did not
He
know
went
that.
to Tulsa University.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. He's from Tulsa.
How big was he? Because it feels like, at least when you would look at him on TV, he didn't seem, because I watched him play.
Sure. This is great podcasting, guys. We're very, very prepared. Steve,
I didn't know.
That's 5'11". 5'11".
187 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, he's a small dude.
In an era, you could decapitate guys.
Right.
I believe if you go look at old pictures, yeah, he wore the 1 bar.
Yeah, I knew that. Like,
the guy was bruised up all the time. Sometimes his face was bruised. Like, one of the toughest guys to ever play. I'm not taking Mike Evans.
Right. I don't know where it is. I have it somewhere. I've got a picture signed by Steve Largent that I got from Papa's house when we cleaned it out.
Interesting.
I don't know where it is. It may not be real either. I don't know, but
I don't want to take anything away from Steve Largent.
That's fair.
Dude's tough.
That's fair. So far, you've got 4 guys over Mike. So technically, that still puts him in your top 5 as of now. We'll move it on to Megatron.
So I'm taking Megatron.
All right. 3-time All-Pro, led the league in yards twice, receptions once, touchdowns
crazy. But
single season yards record.
It is weird to see his touchdowns that low.
They were bad. They were really, really bad.
But he also played.
He averaged 12 yards per game more than Mike Evans.
But he also played with a guy that
for sure, absolutely
resulted in some
Cooper Kupp, Puka. I get it.
Some of the best receiver seasons we've ever seen.
I get it,
including Devontae Adams this year leading the league in touchdowns.
True.
So, his yards per game is way higher. Obviously, his touchdowns are lower than you would anticipate.
They were just a really bad team.
I know, but given the guy of his physical, their offense wasn't.
It had its moments. Obviously, I mean, like during this time period, Matthew Stafford had a season where he threw for 5,000 yards, and he had some good number years, but like they were still just a bad team.
I'm taking Calvin Johnson, but the main reason is if he had completed his career, these numbers would be stupid.
Oh yeah, no, I mean if he had played another 4 or 5 years just to even be like remotely. I mean, he retired way early. I mean, he retired in 2015. If he had
Lions traditionally do.
Yeah, if he had played in 2019, especially if he had gotten off the Lions and like went to a team that was good, like who knows?
But, I'm taking Calvin.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't like it.
Right.
But I'm taking it.
Marvin Harrison got a good amount more yards. I don't have Mike Evans' numbers next to me anymore, but he's
like 1,000 more yards. He's about 20 more touchdowns.
Yeah,
more per game.
Yeah.
Look,
3-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champ.
This is going to sound disrespectful. I'm taking Mike Evans.
I mean, the Peyton tax does exist.
That is the key. Would we know who Marvin Harrison is today? He was good.
Let's not go insane.
Okay. Would he have put up these numbers?
Maybe quite these numbers. I don't know, but he was still an elite talent. It's not like he was a low talent. Well, it's not like he was a low draft pick or something. Like he was coming into the he would have been a known quantity.
In today's league, he was an undersized receiver.
Would he be an all-time great without Peyton? Who knows?
Right.
Maybe not. Would we know who his name? Would he know his name? Probably.
Size alone, because if I recall, he was also, Mike Evans is a big dude.
Mike Evans is like 6'3", yeah.
He was
6'3". Oh, sorry. I was looking at Marvin Harrison Jr.
Like he's
6'1". Okay.
Jumping over a dude to get a ball. He had a lot of deep ones that he took to the house, right? So I'm taking Mike Evans just because I think it's the same reason I took Calvin Johnson over Mike Evans.
Right.
Like his physical skills, if I had to pick one of them standing there, unknown at quarterback, because again, Mike Evans did this with some lesser talent.
Sure.
Marvin Harrison basically had Peyton his whole career if he didn't have it his whole career.
Not his whole career, but a good
Damn
amount
near,
of it.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm taking Mike Evans over Marvin
Sure.
Harrison.
All right. So now we've got Mike Evans in 6th currently. So Chris Carter, 1,100 yards, almost 14,000. 1,100 receptions, almost 14,000 yards, 130 touchdowns. His yards per game is really low, but also he played some time with the Dolphins and like some bad years. 2-time All-Pro, 3-time touchdown leader, 1-time
So
reception leader.
this is going to sound disrespectful to Chris Carter, and I don't mean it to be.
Okay.
Because I think he's an all-time great wide receiver.
Okay.
I'm not going to answer the question yet, but I do want to at least point out one thing. He played 4 or 5 years with Randy Moss on the other side, where he was the number 2.
Not to say that he wasn't already an elite receiver before that, but
he was actually drafted in Philadelphia and was not good there.
Right. But he was good in Minnesota before Randy got there.
He was.
Yeah.
But they had some real talent on that. Another guy that retired early, Smith, the running back, was great there. So there was some other things happening there, and this sounds disrespectful to Chris Carter.
Sure.
Chris Carter was a more athletic, faster version of Fitz.
Okay.
In the sense that he was more of a possession guy.
Yeah.
One of the best 2-tap guys on the sideline to get his feet in.
Right.
At the time that we had seen. And so he had a bunch of touchdowns. Be interested to ever break that down about how many of those happened while Randy was on the field.
Right.
As just a number 2 guy when he's getting triple teamed over there. So I don't mean it disrespectful. He was a great player. No question about it. But I think I'm taking Evans. I think Evans will surpass these numbers before he's done.
Fair enough. All right. The next one. Keep in mind, playing with maybe one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time, at least in terms of numbers. The numbers were not there. And the system always reflected that as well. The era and the system reflected that as well.
I would argue in some ways Aikman's underrated because no one ever puts him in the category of being one of the best.
That's fair. Michael Irvin, though, 750
was one of the most accurate quarterbacks.
750 receptions, almost 12,000 yards, only 65 touchdowns. But again, you're playing with Emmitt Smith your whole career.
And that's the thing, right?
75 yards a game,
55 touchdowns,
1-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champion, led the league in yards once.
So here's the thing. Again, first of all, let's not forget, I don't think Troy ever threw more than 3,500 yards.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that you had almost 12,000 yards when your quarterback never threw more than like 3,300 yards.
Correct. So I think that's partially it. You brought up the touchdowns. Most second halves of most games during the glory years there, it was Emmitt Smith left, Emmitt Smith right, because you had the best offensive line in football for a decade or more. That they got a big lead in the first half, and then they just got the air out of the ball in the second half. And so there wasn't as much of an opportunity.
Right.
He was always the clear number 1 on that team. So and I'm not a Michael Irvin fan.
Sure.
At all.
I think he hurts him. He only hurts his legacy now. He's pretty annoying.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's doing coke on the sideline.
Well, that's got to be true.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's doing coke pre-show and ESPN now.
I don't watch it. But here's the thing.
Michael Irvin, if you're listening to this, we'll be glad to join you on ESPN for what it's worth. For what it's worth.
He's not watching.
Okay.
The 5 people that are, thank you. But my point is that when you take all of that into consideration, the fact that he did put up almost 12,000 yards and 65 touchdowns with a run heavy and a great tight end as well, Novacek, right? What he did put up was impressive considering all of that.
Sure.
And he wasn't even the deep play guy on that team.
Right.
It was Alvin Harper for a lot of that span.
Okay.
I would take Michael Irvin.
That's fair.
You have to. On a different team, the numbers he might have put up, I have no idea.
I also think it's kind of crazy to think about, right? So I was taking a quiz earlier, and it was naming every receiver since 1990 that has had 7 or more 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And like it gave the last year that they had 1,000 yards, and there were 27 guys on there. He was one of them. The last year he did it was 98, which means he had at least 7,000-yard seasons in 8 years, which is, again, with that system, is absurd considering the fact that he had 1,000 yards in 7 of 8 years, or maybe even 8 of 8, I don't know, where your quarterback was throwing 3,000 yards. I mean, so he had a third of the, right.
Like, there's no question in a different offense, different quarterback. Like, if you had Michael Irvin with Dan Marino,
they win.
I don't know
They
if they
might
win a Super Bowl, but we were still putting up big offensive numbers.
Right.
My point is Michael Irvin
Shout out Clayton and Duper.
might have caught 2,000 yards. I don't know.
Sure.
Right. So I don't like it, but I would take him.
Fair enough. All right, and then I've just got some extra names because right now that puts Mike Evans at 7, so technically I haven't won yet.
Right.
But Tim Brown.
Love Tim Brown, but no.
No, okay. AB.
He's crazy.
But he's crazy.
He had a 4-year span.
No, hold on, not 4. Not
he was
4.
Elite.
He was also on that list, by the way, of 7+ thousand yard seasons. Right. He started in 2010. His last one was in 2018. So he had at least 7 in an 8-year period also.
He was incredible.
He was phenomenal. One of the single best seasons of all time in like 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. Him, Lev Bell, Big Ben. Like that offense was stupid. But Julio.
No, and I'll use your argument against you.
I mean,
why?
I get the touchdowns. I get it. I get it.
He's not that good because he doesn't score touchdowns.
I didn't say he's not that good. I said that there were. I take D Hop at the time. I was talking about D Hop. I take D Hop over him because of the touchdowns. Keep in mind, I was also like 13 at the time, but I fundamentally still agree with that statement. That's always why I said it in their peaks. Todd Gurley was better than Zeke, and that was never really a question. But Todd Gurley was better than Zeke because he led the league in touchdowns, and Zeke was getting like 5 touchdowns a year, whatever. But the same kind of idea. That's fair. Mike Evans isn't like a crazy touchdown machine either, but he did have more than Julio. But
he has over 100.
But Julio's pure talent is just stupid, though. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, physically gifted, great route runner.
Yeah. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce.
Love them both. Right. I mean, part of one of the best offenses, if not the best offense we've ever seen. I actually got to see them live in Seattle once.
Probably is.
The greatest show on turf. I got to see it live.
Yeah.
He threw Marshall Falk in there. Like it was elite.
Kurt Warner,
who came out of nowhere and was just crazy good. I do think his arena football helped him with that quick release and getting that kind of stuff. So, but here's the thing. Because of that, I'm still taking Mike Evans. Mike Evans did this with a lot of lesser talent.
Sure.
They had talent all over the place. And don't forget about coaching in that case. Like it was just one of the most exciting offenses ever. And they were part of it.
Sure.
But I'm taking Mike Evans.
Reggie Wayne, I'm assuming we can gloss over because you didn't even take Marv. So
I will say, but here's an unpopular opinion. I think Reggie Wayne was a better receiver than Marvin Harrison.
All right.
I just do. He was a bigger guy. Like he was a more physically gifted receiver.
So do we have more of an argument with Reggie Wayne?
He's a more Mike Evans mold.
Sure.
I don't remember what Reggie's numbers were. His career did not last as long as Harrison's, I don't believe.
I think he played till like 2012.
And towards the end of his career, obviously, was not playing with Peyton Manning.
And he went to the Jags at some point.
Yeah, so I'm probably still taking Mike Evans.
Fair.
But it's not to be disrespectful to Reggie Wayne.
Tyreek Hill.
I'm taking Mike.
Peak Tyreek Hill is stupid.
He very
so
talented.
Good.
If he was open, he's extremely talented.
Not if he's open. He caught balls that were insane. He had great hands.
I'm not suggesting he didn't, but he is an undersized guy, right? He's not going up
making
a big.
But he's the fastest game speed player we've ever seen.
I don't know about ever seen, but obviously he's up there.
Game speed? Who are you taking over Tyreek Hill?
I don't know, but I'm taking Mike Evans.
Okay. I mean, I definitely disagree there. But I mean, that's something. Devontae Adams.
Again, I'm taking Mike Evans. And it's not to be just, but again,
Devontae Adams has led the league in touchdowns like 3-4 times, something like that.
And who was quarterbacks?
Sure. That is
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
He was really good in Vegas too. He was a really good receiver in Vegas,
and he didn't have a terrible quarterback.
Oh yeah, Derek Carr. It was not great, not terrible.
I understand that, but he could throw the deep ball. He could throw the ball. He could throw it to Adams, right?
He was not Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not taking Carr over many quarterbacks in any league, but let's not forget until that weird thing happened that one year with the injury, he was on pace to potentially be an MVP candidate that one year.
It was coming off of the year that Jack Del Rio had had won Coach of the Year, and they were the 1 seed, and Khalil Mack was Defensive Player of the Year. Going into the next year, I definitely had said Derek Carr was like my dark horse for MVP, and then he messed up his back and was hurt, and it was not good. But
so I'm taking Evans, but I don't necessarily mean that to be disrespectful. Devontae Adams, he's good.
Fair enough. And the last one, because we've already mentioned him a little bit on this podcast in a different sense, DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't know what D-Hop's ending numbers are. He was one of the best end zone guys we've seen. I mean, still one of the best plays you're ever going to see was the Hail Mary.
Oh my gosh!
Right. And so that was even probably.
And he led the league in reception and touchdowns several years too. With
I'm probably taking
not.
I'm probably taking
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, and yeah, a lot of substandard quarterbacks.
A lot worse than Aaron Rodgers. Until you had Deshaun Watson, he had nothing his whole career. Because he was between Matt Schaub and Deshaun Watson, so like he didn't even get Matt Schaub either.
It didn't last long. You could argue in some ways Murray might have been the best quarterback he played with.
I would say Deshaun was better while it lasted, but then it didn't. Last long. No, but
I would take D-Hop in his prime.
All right, that's fair. So I think that would put Mike Evans, if I counted right, at like 8. So that holds to your argument. So I guess I will take an L here for now. I didn't have a full complete list. Maybe I could have found more guys that were on it.
Good list.
Off top, I'm not really thinking of anybody necessarily.
There's some guys in the league now that could get there.
Sure. I mean, Puka. Look, give me Puka.
Here's
okay. Jettas. Put Jettas Mike Evans right now. I'm serious.
Well,
he's
only done it for 1 year.
1 year? He's been in the league for 6 years. No, not JSN.
Oh,
Jettas. Justin Jefferson.
Okay. What I was about to say.
Right. I mean, like right now, you can make that. You can.
Where is he right now on my list?
Like
7,
8.
Look, right now, I can absolutely say this, which puts me right on the cusp.
Okay.
I mean, I would take Chase or Jefferson over Mike Evans.
Okay.
They've already proven that.
All right.
Now, obviously, for most of Chase's career, he's had elite quarterback play, the same guy he played with in college.
Sure.
There's something to be said for that, but it doesn't change his skill.
Triple crown.
Right. As you know, I ranked Jefferson number 1 in the league.
Right.
And he's doing things his first 7 years no one's done.
Right.
Last year didn't look great for the first time where he had a really bad quarterback.
Yeah. But he still hit 1,000 yards.
He did.
Which is insane.
Which is keeping that streak alive, which is what?
JJ McCarthy.
Yards, I believe?
6.
6. So to be clear, I would take both of those guys over Mike Evans.
Fair enough. All right. So that puts you right on the edge, and then give it a couple more years. Maybe we're talking Puka. Maybe we're talking JSN. Maybe we're talking.
Yeah, I love JSN.
Yeah.
I love Puka too, but I like
maybe at some point we're talking CeeDee Lamb. No, that's not happening. But
I like CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think he's in the same.
Anyways, so I mean that puts us right on the edge. So I think that's a good topic for conversation. Mike Evans ends up a lot closer up there than I would have expected.
I mean, he's done some things guys haven't done.
How about Fred Biletnikoff? I mean, he's got a ring with the Raiders. I know that. I know literally nothing about Fred Biletnikoff other than he won a ring with John Madden, and he has an award named after him in college football. So you got to be pretty good.
He's probably smoking a cigarette on the sideline.
He was white, and he was playing in the 70s.
Smoking a cigarette on the sideline.
Yeah.
A can of bud before he went back in. I don't know. That's what they did back then, right?
Pretty much. So, all right. Well, this concludes to beef or not to beef. I guess we kind of beefed a little bit, not beefed a little bit. We're kind of there in the middle.
I think you could argue that I won, but that's fine.
I think it's close.